Hello and welcome to Business Poker, bringing the skills of poker to your business. Today I'd like to talk about a really big poker game that's going on in Europe at the moment, the Eurozone poker game, played in euros. And if you look around the poker table, let's look at the players. We've got Germany, who are the biggest player at the table. They've got the biggest stack, they've got the most flexibility. They're the ones who dictate the pace of the game. They've got great influence with all the other players as well. And so in poker terms, we'd call them the table captain. They're the ones who dictate the pace of play. Sitting alongside them, we've got Italians, we've got France, we've got Spain. We're all having, well, they're having a slightly more difficult time than Germany. Not as bad as Greece, but still, they're struggling a little. We've got Ireland, who were struggling a lot, and they're a minnow in this poker game. But the other players love to have them at the table, because they demonstrate how when you've got a bad hand and things are going difficult for you, if you stick with it, you'll get there in the end. And Ireland have certainly seemed to have done that in recent months and years. So they've recovered well. And then sitting at the end of the table is Greece. And unfortunately, the Greeks have had a bit of a difficult time recently. They borrowed 240 billion from all the other players at the table, and they're really struggling to pay it back. And they've not been playing particularly well. But they have a new representative at the table, and perhaps that will change the game that they're going to play. But if you look at the options that they really have very limited options. As far as I'm concerned, from a poker playing perspective, they really only have two. Is someone agrees to continue to provide them with the funds to play, or they have the nuclear option of shoving all the chips in the middle and saying, I'm going all in, either you back me to stay in the game, or I'll leave the game completely, and I'll leave you with all the debt from the money that you lent me over the years. And I guess that's a really difficult decision for them to make, but one which on a poker table is almost certainly the right play. Certainly when you take into account they've got a huge mountain of debt of 317 billion, or 175% of GDP. They have a new mandate from their people to say, austerity, we don't want that anymore. And finally, they've got 28% unemployment. So really, they are backed up against the wall. And it will be up to the other players, and in particular Germany, to decide what they're going to do about that. There's lots of comments in the press, lots of things being said. But at the end of the day, it'll come down to some horse trading. And certainly be a very interesting poker game to watch. Just a quick update on an oil industry blog post that I wrote recently, talking about how the Saudis in particular were particularly strong and seemed to be the ones who were pushing the oil price down by continuing to pump 9 billion with the potential to pump 11 billion barrels a day. The day after I wrote that article, an ex-advisor to the Saudis came out and said, instead of us having 4 years of fiscal budget in foreign reserves, we actually have 8. So we're even stronger than you think. And I saw today in the LA Times, I was reading an article about the Saudis, and they really also, in addition to keeping the oil price down, they want to keep us addicted to oil because they don't really want us to be buying electric cars. So the Saudis are in it for the long term. It'll be very interesting to watch that as it plays out over the coming months and years. And finally, it's election time here in the UK, which makes me sigh a little because it's very depressing. We've got 100 days of non-stop political announcements and interviews and so on. But I've been looking at just two things that I've been looking at. One is I saw an opposition spokesman speaking on television the other day. And if I was playing him at poker, he had a tell that told me he was distressed while he was speaking. And I don't think he really believed what he was saying. I'm not going to tell you what that tell is. You'll have to contact me directly if you want to know what that is. But it was very strong. And I asked my wife, Ruth, whether she saw it as well. And she said, absolutely, it was blindingly obvious. So it's very interesting. I'd be interested if you maybe saw it as well. Let me know. And finally, just thinking about the opposition party and the current government party. So we've got Labour on one side, who are the opposition party. And we've got the Conservatives, admittedly in coalition, but they're in the party of government at the moment. And this is a winner-takes-all situation. And the trouble with winner-takes-all situations is you have to take risks to win. You can't just continue to play it safe. Although obviously if you're in the lead, playing the safe option can be the right thing to do. So the Conservatives are saying, stick with us. We've done well by the economy. We've managed things very well. Stick with us. Trust us. We've done a reasonable job over the last 4 years. All the current economic growth is down to us, which of course is not entirely true, but nonetheless, that's what they're saying. And that's quite a safe option. And because they're in the lead, perhaps for them the safe option might be the right thing. The opposition, on the other hand, seem to be very wary of taking any risks. They're saying a few things about mansion taxes and a few other little minor things, but nothing radical at all. And you know what? If they really want the public to back them, I think they really need to take a risk. They really need to put the chips in the middle, and they have to accept that at some stage they're going to fail. But if they want to win, they have to put all the chips in the middle at some stage. And I think drip feeding small changes is not going to do it for them. Okay, well that's it for this week. I look forward to talking to you again. Goodbye.